What's up, Fumble fam? I'm Brooke.
And I'm Noelle, and you're listening to Girls Don't Fumble, the #1 sports podcast for NFL Girl Talk.
We sift through all the football news so you don't have to.
Let's get into it.
Okay, do we want to move into our third young, spry gentleman?
Let's do it. What are his stats?
Coming in at 202 pounds, 6'2", 21 years old. We are talking about JJ McCarthy, Jonathan James McCarthy for long, and we are super excited about him. Woo.
Love it. Love it. Okay, he's the smallest of the three so far.
He weighs
in terms of
the least.
Pounds.
In terms of pounds, he's 1 inch taller than Caleb Williams.
Okay.
But yeah, I know, not weighing too much. And he has like a little baby face. Maybe he's baby girl too.
Yeah.
So JJ McCarthy, he is maybe one of the better known quarterbacks in this draft just because he is coming off of a national championship title with University of Michigan. He played all 3 years at the school with Jim Harbaugh and, recently won the entire championship. So really amazing end to his season. What a lot of people maybe don't know is that while he is kind of like the face and the golden boy of University of Michigan, he has some serious beef with Ohio State.
Ooh, tell it.
So he grew up in Chicago and he was a huge Ohio State fan. He even did a college visit out there when he was still like very young in high school. I think it was even 3 years before he would even be going to college there, but he went for a visit, absolutely loved it. And he told the coach, hey, I will commit in the spring. Like I am ready to let you guys know I'm coming to the school. I want to play for you guys. I want to be your quarterback. The coach was kind of like, I don't know if we're ready to commit to a quarterback this spring. We maybe are going to be looking at someone end of summer, but we're just not going to sign a quarterback right now. I think for context on his end, the coach was also looking at some other quarterbacks, CJ Stroud included, among some other guys. So JJ McCarthy is like, okay, maybe I'll wait. I obviously still have time, kind of wait it out to the end of summer. However, the coach lied. He signed a quarterback that very spring. It was Kyle McCord. So he, didn't hold his word to JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy absolutely heartbroken. This was, an unthinkable thing of the coach to do, to lie to him. It's his dream school. And he just kind of let his dreams just wash right by him with the Kyle McCord signing. And if you thought JJ McCarthy was the type of guy to kind of, take the high road and not get too mad, you're wrong. So instead of just kind of brushing this off his shoulder, mere days later, he signs with Michigan, Ohio State's rivals.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
yes.
He said, I'm going to get you back. And he didn't just stop there. He was in an interview with The Athletic, which is just a news publication. And he says about Ohio State, I used to love them. Now I want to kill them.
Those are actually fighting words.
Yeah. So he didn't take this well at all.
Yeah.
But, he kind of channeled that into the amazing success that he's seen. He led Michigan to 3 consecutive Big Ten conference titles, including, of course, the 2023 national championship that I mentioned. Something else that I found extremely interesting about JJ McCarthy is that, so while he was a starting quarterback at Michigan, his record was 27 wins and only 1 loss. And even crazier than that, going back to his high school career, he had only lost twice. So this man has only started as a quarterback and lost 3 times in his entire life. He has no idea what it feels like to lose.
Yeah, it's giving Tom Brady, but also Tom Brady didn't have the record that he did in high school or college, I don't think. But I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of college football as of now.
And I don't know if JJ McCarthy is necessarily this. He's very good, but he's not that good. I think he's just played for very good teams. But I just think that's a wild headspace to be in, of just, you're so used to just this constant winning. His entire college career, he only lost 1 game. You're going to come to the NFL and, depending on what team he gets drafted on, of course, I think he'll do well, but he's going to be in for a rude awakening of not having a perfect record anymore.
No, that's so true. Of course, we're if you're good, you're good, and you're going to continue to ride that wave. But how will he be able to overcome like some of those losses? Because they will come. Yeah. They always say like when you transfer from, or when you go from college football to the NFL, it is very different. I think for some other outlier, QBs, they may say like, I don't know if it's the same, but they are unfazed by it. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if we do start to see, at least like a dip or some losses coming out of JJ, will he be able to overcome that and be able to just continue to stay strong, keep his head down, and keep his team on the right path? I have faith in him. Mm-hmm. I feel like when we do these deep dives, we're really getting to know the players, and we want to cheer them on. We want to see them do well. And sometimes it doesn't always work out with these QBs, but we have hope for JJ.
I think something to note with him too, that I really have a lot of faith in him. Like, he is really big into mental health, and meditation has been a huge part of his life. So he meditates 30 to 40 minutes every single day. It is amazing. Like a cornerstone in his life since high school. He opened up about battling with depression when he was at boarding school and felt like he was kind of drifting away from the person that he felt like he was. And he turned to meditation and said it completely changed his life. Which, like, side note on that, I love that too. But like, everyone always is like, oh my gosh, meditation and breath work is like life changing. I just like, I can't meditate.
And that's why it's life-changing when you are able to meditate. I think, like, babe, you can put it in your 2 cents on this. I need to stop calling you babe on this, but producer Pete.
It's a workplace romance. Girls don't fumble.
Yeah. I mean, I don't practice it every day, but imagine how hard meditation is for 5 minutes. Doing it for 30 to 40 minutes a day.
Oh, my God.
That's why I think it is life-changing, because to be able to sit in stillness and not have your mind wander, and even if you do, be able to overcome and not like get in your head on like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking too much and I need to just like be still. Like, you're training your mind in some ways to just like ebb and flow in that way, and like get into a certain like calmness with stillness. And I think that's a good way for people to overcome anxiety and stuff. So I believe it. I love that.
Yeah.
We should do a birthwork class.
The harder it is for you to do it, the more you need it, is kind of the rule of thumb.
Okay, a read.
Hey, I worked at Headspace momentarily.
Oh my God.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. That and meditation every day for at least 5 to 10 minutes has a greater impact on your stress levels than a 2-week vacation from work.
Are you serious?
Harvard study. You can look it up.
Oh my God. Didn't realize we were quoting Harvard on the pod today.
Only Ivies, baby.
Okay. So now I feel like I opened up about not being able to meditate, and I've been read to filth on the podcast. But no, that's good advice. Maybe you guys can hold me
together.
Yeah. We can maybe start every podcast with 5 minutes of silence. We'll bring the fumblers in on it too.
Yeah. Maybe that will be one of our sponsors.
Yeah. Headspace.
No, but we love a self-awareness meditation king coming
Absolutely.
out of JJ.
A half hour is a long time though. That's a
long
I don't know if
time.
that's
It's
3
hard.
sessions or if that's one long 30 minutes.
Consecutive. Yeah.
I don't know if
harder.
that's consecutive, but I know that he said he does that. And then before every single game, you guys might have seen like pictures of this, for 10 minutes, he sits against the goalpost in the end zone, shoes off, like headphones in, meditates in silence on the field for 10 minutes before every single game.
I love this. Where did he grow up again?
I think like around Chicago.
Interesting. That's great.
He also, oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I don't even remember.
I was going to add too that like, I think he's really into like all this Zen stuff, because he also says when he's warming up, the only music he'll listen to is Bob Marley.
Oh,
so he's got a whole vibe going. He's got
Rastafari.
He's got Barb Marley in the warm up. He's taking his shoes off. He's sitting in the end zone. He's sitting crisscross applesauce, eyes closed.
Man.
And just thinking about like, I mean, I'm sure he's going to do this in the NFL games, and just thinking about how big that crowd is, how tough your opponent is.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just going to go sit and close my eyes on the field for about 10 minutes. That's got to feel like the longest 10 minutes to anyone else. I'm sure he's so used to doing it, but crazy.
That's great. I feel like there's some really just like great characters coming out of this draft.
I know.
And even just seeing the film of him or like the shots of him on the field doing that, I think it's going to bring some great awareness to meditation and just all of that, which, let's be real, America needs that.
America needs. Also, he grew up in LaGrange Park. That is outside of Chicago. Just don't want to misrepresent his story.
Love that. I don't know it, but we know Chicago and love Chicago.
Love Chicago. Maybe we'll have to visit him.
Just knock on his hometown door. Is JJ here?
JJ, is that you? Jonathan James? So that's a little bit about him and where he will be getting drafted to. This is a bunch of speculation too. He is, I think, most commonly talked about maybe the fourth quarterback that's going to be picked after Drake Maye, who we'll talk about next, but just some teams that are, likely to get him. So if he goes number 3, which is very plausible, he's maybe going to go 3 or 4, could also be 2, depending on how Topgolf went. Number 3 right now would be going to the Patriots. The Patriots had, traded away Mac Jones to the Jaguars. So they currently are looking for a quarterback next season. So that could be a good spot for him if the Patriots don't take Drake Maye. Another option is, of course, looking at the teams that need to trade up and need a quarterback. So that would be the Vikings, Broncos, and Raiders. From what I was reading, it seems really heavily favored that the Vikings will be the ones to make that move. The Vikings lost their dear Kirk Cousins in the off seasons to the Falcons. So they really need that QB. And as I mentioned, they have 2 first-round picks, so they are really enticing to any of those teams in the top spots. The Cardinals, the Chargers, Giants, Titans, any of them to kind of move up and take JJ as their quarterback.
We'll see where he nets out.
We'll see.
I'm excited. I wonder if he has an idea in his mind, or if he has like a top pick in his mind. I feel like they would never say it in an interview, but obviously all of them, I'm sure in the back of their heads are like, oh, that'd be really cool if I can play for this team.
Yeah.
That has like a little bit more of like a realistic view on it.
One thing I'll say too is since JJ McCarthy played for Michigan, he was coached by Jim Harbaugh for all 3 of his seasons. Jim Harbaugh loves JJ McCarthy, genuinely loves him. He's been in interviews saying he's the best quarterback in the draft. He loves working with him. And knowing that, Jim Harbaugh is now going to be the head coach of the Chargers, Broncos and Raiders are division rivals of the Chargers. I think there's a 0% chance that he lets them trade with him. So that might be a no-go in terms of if they're trying to trade up with the Chargers. They would have to look at other teams up in that spot. But I think Jim Harbaugh is probably going to do everything he can to keep, his beloved JJ McCarthy out of his division and having to face him twice every season. That would be tough. That
would be really tough. And didn't the Broncos just trade for Zach Wilson?
They did.
Yeah.
They got Zach Wilson now.
I mean, would he be a starter?
They traded, Russell Wilson away to end up with Zach Wilson. I mean, he could be a starter.
I mean, I hope so. I'm trying to think of like how Sean Payton would be as his head coach. Who knows?
I don't know.
He's coachable.
Yeah, that's what we're saying is like so much is going to change with who gets drafted to these teams. And then once those players are locked in, we're probably going to see so many more trades after that because they have secured who their new talent will be.
Right.
And then the holes in the roster just become that much more clear.
Exactly. Yeah. I know that there's like a bunch of articles out there that exist. They're like, here are some of the top free agents that may be, traded after the draft. So a lot of moving pieces and it's all determined right here, right now, well, tomorrow.
At the Sahara tent.
AKA the NFL draft. Be there or be square.
Exactly. Okay, that's all I have for JJ.
Nice. I love it. We are stans of JJ. Where would you want him to go?
Where would I want JJ to go?
Because I feel like since there are ties to Harbaugh, like there might be a soft spot for him in there.
Like, oh no,
you have a soft spot.
I have the softest spot for JJ McCarthy, so I don't want him going to the Broncos or the Raiders.
Okay, fair.
I do think the Vikings would look good on him.
Yeah, I could see that, and that's up in the East.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. The Patriots, I don't know. There's a lot going on with the Patriots right now that I don't feel that great about. You get him on the Vikings. He has Justin Jefferson as a weapon in the
Hopefully
in the field. Hopefully. Mixed feelings on, where we want Justin Jefferson to be. But
Yeah.
I think the Vikings too, this would be great. You know, they're losing just the wholesome man that is Kirk Cousins. Give him a new wholesome man.
Yeah.
I think they would really love to see JJ McCarthy there. Also, I don't know if this is true. I probably should have confirmed this before mentioning it on the podcast, but I saw something on Instagram that said the Minnesota Vikings stadium is going meatless. And they're going to only be offering alternative meats. That could have been an April Fool's. Let me make sure.
Yeah, there's no way. Not in Minnesota.
What if?
I'm
You never
Googling
know.
Vikings meatless stadium. Oh, no. The number one headline said Minnesota Vikings stadium is not going vegan in September.
Am I thinking of the right team? Is it the Vikings or the Packers that have like that? They have like the owner is everybody in their community.
No, that's the Packers.
The Packers. Okay.
They don't have an owner. Yeah,
they don't have an owner. It's
owned by, it's like a publicly traded business, basically.
right.
Wild. Okay, they're not going meat free. I don't know why that was circulating. There's like a bunch of articles about it and they're all fact checked false on Google. So thank you, Google.
The seats would be empty at the Vikings stadium.
Feels like the wrong crowd for something like that. But I was like, I don't know. I mean, especially Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm still rooting for the Vikings to get him. That
would
would
be
also
great.
keep him out of the AFC West. And yeah, there's no one else what do you think? Where would you want him to go?
I think the Vikings is a good choice. Yeah. I mean, if we think about the division rivalries, that's totally fair. I don't know how I feel about Sean Payton as a head coach at the Broncos. I don't know. He seemed like he didn't get along and wasn't a very good coach with Russell Wilson. So
Yeah.
he might, I don't know if his tactics would necessarily be great for JJ. I do remember from the NFL report card, the Vikings were up there at the top. So it sounds like they're a well-rounded team that have great coaching, a great coaching staff, a great owner. And I think they're just like a well-rounded team overall. So I feel safe with the Vikings being his new home.
I love it. Pete, you want to weigh in?
I think for JJ McCarthy, I'm more excited I don't really care where he goes. I'm more excited to see if he pans out, to be honest.
That's fair.
That's kind of the narrative around him right now is, he was really good, but was it just because he was on a good team and had a good coach and had a good offensive line? What's going to happen when, that all goes away and he maybe goes to a program that hasn't done well in the last year? So I think it's more like, let's see where he goes. It's not going to be like a great starting place, but let's see if he can turn something good out of it. So
I agree.
that's my 2 cents.
That's
So
fair.
we're a little over like an hour 15 right now.
No way. No, we're not.
You guys keep ripping. I just want to make sure you know where we're sitting.
Okay, we only have one more.
We have one more and we can go through this as quickly as possible, but I also want to give him the respect and the time that he deserves. The last QB prospect we're going to be talking about today is Drake Maye. I know we've already been talking about him quite a bit, so we'll get into his metrics, our favorite part. He's 6'4", 230 and 21 years old. I think he's the youngest and the tallest / most
heaviest.
heaviest.
He's the biggest boy we got.
He's a big boy. And from all of the reports that I've been reading about him, he seems like he has a really strong arm. But just to give you some background on where he's played, he was a current or used to play at the University of North Carolina. That's also where he grew up. He grew up watching Cam Newton. I know that he's had a few interviews where he said, what exactly he's tried to model his QB style on, and a part of it was Cam Newton since he's grown up watching the Panthers, but also he has taken he's taken Josh Allen and Josh Burrow's like mental toughness as something to model off of. So that's exciting to see. Obviously, we're big Joe Burrow and Josh Allen fans, but he's not the only athlete in his family. Not only did he play basketball in high school, but his dad was a football player back in his early days. So he is among a family of athletes. And I feel like that's kind of a common theme with a lot of athletes, like either their dad or their siblings are current players. It's pretty common, which is, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah,
they
those
know
athletic genes, getting the kids to practice.
Yeah, I feel like the parents know exactly what it takes in order for them to succeed and what they need to sacrifice, all of that. So he is definitely one of those stories where he grew up in an athletic household. He began playing in 2021 where he was redshirted. He only played 4 games, but he really started his as a starter at University of North Carolina in 2022. That was, I want to say, his best year. His numbers did dip a little bit in 2023, but some speculate that it was due to one of his like number 1 wide receivers. His name is Tez Walker, I believe. He was ineligible to play for a few games, and his offensive line just wasn't as strong as it was previously in 2022. But overall, a very strong prospect. Again, there's a lot of speculation that he'll be coming out of this draft overall 2 or 3 pick. And again, this is speculation. Who knows? Could be something different. Outside of that, he also competed in a UNC Pro Day where, again, he competed in things like the 40-yard dash, vertical jump, 3-cone drill, 20-yard dash, broad jump, like just showing off his athletic abilities. I think some of the takeaways from his pro day were that not only did was he a big guy, he has a strong arm, and he definitely has a lot of upside. But compared to some of the other QB prospects, he does need a little bit more of coaching in the locker room. I think some of his weaknesses that have been highlighted is he doesn't necessarily make the best decisions under pressure. So those are some things that teams are currently considering. So what locker rooms do look like? They have kind of mentors, especially in the QB locker room, that can kind of coach him in the right direction. Outside of that, I think some of the other accolades, again, his 2022 year was the strongest. He did win some awards then. He won ACC Player of the Year, ACC Offensive Player of the Year. So he definitely has had some bright, shining moments. And just to give you some background on kind of who he is as a person, I was watching an interview and they were like, who is Drake Maye? Like, what do you like to do? Or how would you like best describe yourself? It's kind of just like a very general question. And he said, well, I'm a really good football player, if you didn't already know that. But then he says, yeah, I'm just a football player and I like to play video games. And that was it.
It's like the most boy answer I've ever heard in my life.
I know. And I feel like all of these NFL players, like when they are not on the field or in the weight room, like training, they just love to play video games.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Do you think he plays Madden?
Great question. I don't know. But he did say another question that was asked in the same interview. The interviewer asked him what NFL player is he most excited to play against, and he said Micah Parsons. So
interesting.
So maybe he is. He gets to like play him in some ways in that Madden game. So who knows?
I love it. Very excited.
Something else before I get into speculation that I think is really fun about Drake Maye is he definitely has shown a little bit of his softer side. I learned that he is currently partnering with the Lowe's home team. Now, if you don't know what the Lowe's home team is, yes, I am talking about Lowe's, where you can buy, home improvement things.
Like Home Depot competitor.
Yeah, exactly. So they created something called the Lowe's home team, and essentially is a way for players to partner not only with the NFL, but with Lowe's to help build kind of like community improvement projects. So some of this can look like affordable housing, building local gardens, or improving schools in certain ways. So just helping build things in local communities and kind of giving back in that way. He has mentioned that he wants to use his platform to kind of give back in that way. Some other players in the NFL that have been a part of this program are Travis Kelce, Bryce Young, Dak Prescott. So he is a man of community and of service and of volunteering. And I just thought that was really sweet.
It is really sweet. I was on his Instagram page before this, and he posted a photo of him like with like the Lowe's team, and the way that like those people only were up to his belly button in height, like he was towering over the rest of the volunteers, and it was just like the cutest photo I've ever seen.
It's so sweet, and I have been reading that. For his current project with the Lowe's home team, they're going to be helping build the NFL draft in Detroit. So he's partnering with a local contractor and just like getting to know all of the team and all of the workers that are kind of building that whole stage, aka the Sahara tent.
Oh, love.
So I thought that was really sweet, and I'm sure that this is going to be one of many projects that he does with the Lowe's home team. So to get into some of the speculation of where they think Drake Maye will be, again, a lot of things are up in the air for this one, kind of similar to JJ McCarthy. He has been meeting with a lot of teams, and a lot of them kind of sound like repeats of teams that JJ McCarthy is also meeting with, those being the Patriots, Giants, the Commanders, the Vikings. Few things to note here. There are some connections with the Vikings with Drake Maye. There are talks that Josh McCown, I'm sorry if I butchered his name, he is the new Vikings QB coach. He used to be Drake Maye's coach in high school.
Wow. All these high school coaches coming back out.
Coming back into the NFL of all places.
I know.
That's
Can I just say, like, side note, proud of the coaches for making it from high school to the NFL. Like, highlighting these men as well for their accomplishments.
I know. Where was he in our rating the head coaches?
Oh my God. I know. We got to do like all the sub coaches next too.
So there was that connection. Something else that is interesting. He also went to the infamous Topgolf event.
Oh my God, he sure did.
But he also had a very different reaction than Jaden Daniels. He thought it was super fun and like a very cool event. He said, I just loved being with the guys and hanging out with them. And he said it was different than any other meeting he's been to with a team, because normally he's used to the wining and dining, the steak dinners, going to work out. And I'm sure that the Commanders still did that with all these prospects. But again, I guess we'll never know what their intentions were at the very end. And maybe they just really wanted to see how some of these QBs were in social settings. But he was also there. He was loving it. He said, yeah, I think I was swinging the best. But JJ also had a pretty good swing too. So he enjoyed it. And I do think that it kind of benefited him, and it kind of helps complete his like the full package of who Drake Maye is, not only on the field, but like who he is as a person. And he just seems like he, in that interview, just kind of had that golden retriever energy. And he's just like, I'm going to be happy wherever I go. And I just love to play golf, and put me anywhere, coach. And like, I'm going to do it for you, and I'm going to compete.
And I just like, I love that attitude too. Yeah. Like, I feel like that is somebody who you would be so excited to introduce to the rest of the team and be like, this is our guy. He would, I feel like he'd be like humble almost, coming to a team that maybe hasn't done so well in the past, and be excited about being there and building them up. Like, that could be completely incorrect, but I just get like a very kind vibe from him. Going back to what you were talking about of coming from a family of athletes, he's the youngest of 4 brothers. So he's probably used to like maybe like getting hand-me-downs, or like, maybe, of course, he's a star athlete, but all of his siblings were star athletes too. Like Luke Maye was an amazing basketball player. I think he's playing in Japan now. So like, I don't know. I feel like he's like used to that kind of like community and just going with the flow and just having like a nice outlook on life.
I love that.
Giving back via the Lowe's home experience.
Exactly. He's a man of kindness and a man of giving back. So we'll see exactly where he goes. If you were to ask me where, I don't really know with this one. This one's tough, honestly. If Jaden Daniels goes to the Commanders, which it seems like that's where he's going, I mean, next in line there is the Patriots.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really similar to, the JJ McCarthy speculation where Patriots are currently lined up at number 3. The question is, are they going to stay at number 3 or are they going to trade down to try to get some more opportunities? But yeah, I think Patriots, Vikings, maybe this is who the Broncos and the Raiders are calling to try to get a hold of Drake. But it's really going to be interesting seeing who gets these top 4 prospects. And then, of course, the other quarterbacks. What is it? Bo Nix and I'm going to butcher the other name. I don't remember it anymore. QBs in the draft. Pete?
Michael
Penix somebody Jr.?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jr.
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix Jr., who was also a top contender of the Heisman last year.
Yep, exactly. Well,
we shall see.
We shall see. That's kind of all I had for Drake Maye. Anything else? Any ads?
No ads on my end.
I love it.
Okay, well, we're so excited for the draft on Thursday. We will be coming back to recap that first day of the draft with you guys. So we'll see if any of our speculations were correct, if the Top Golf drama actually, ends up being something that shakes up the draft, and, who the trades are going to be afterwards. But we're super excited and we'll be covering it all.
Yeah, we can't wait. We're going to be watching it live tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, right?
5 p.m. Pacific, Thursday. Yes.
Maybe we'll do a live stream.
Live reaction.
Brooke and I will be FaceTiming each other.
Duet with us.
Awesome. Well, I know that this was a long episode, so thanks for hanging in there, and hope you learned, a thing or two about this upcoming draft. Some of the players, we are definitely going to be looking forward to where they net out in this draft, and hopefully they'll have a very successful season this year.
We wish them all the best.
Awesome.
Okay. We love you, Fumblers.
See you next time.
Bye.